In 1992, Richard Branson did something that didn't look like failure, but felt exactly like it. He sold Virgin Records. The press called it a smart strategic move. Analysts praised his timing, but none of them were in the room when he signed the papers. Because when the deal was done, Richard Branson cried. Not because he was poor, but because the thing that made him who he was gone. And the truth is, this sale didn't mark the end of a risk. It was the consequence of years of risks stacking quietly on top of each other. A boy wired for discomfort. Richard Branson wasn't bad at school. School was bad for Richard Branson. Words wouldn't stay still on the page. Instructions felt abstract. And every failure reinforced the same quiet message. You don't belong here. Dyslexia didn't just make learning harder. It made authority feel unreliable. The mother training arc. His mother didn't comfort him out of this feeling. She trained him through it. One day, she dropped him miles from home and drove away. No directions, no reassurance. That moment taught him something permanent. Fear is something you move through, not something that stops you. That lesson will later save his life and almost ruin it. Dropping out was not courage. When Richard Branson dropped out of school at 16, people called it bold, but courage wasn't the motivation. Escape was. School measured him in ways he always lost. Business didn't measure him yet. Student magazine didn't succeed fast. It struggled quietly. Printers chased him for money. Writers walked for free. Advertisers disappeared without warning. But something else happened. Richard discovered that if you spoke with certainty, with a certain degree of confidence, people assumed you had control. Confidence became his currency, and later his greatest liability. Virgin is born for chaos. Virgin didn't start as a brand. It started as a loophole. Selling discounted records by mail wasn't glamorous. It was fragile. The raid, slow burn. When customs officers raided his operation, the fantasy cracked. Suddenly, business wasn't playful. It was legal. It was serious. It had consequences. Richard Branson was arrested. He avoided prison eventually, but something subtle changed. He learned that survival reinforced confidence, even when the risk was reckless. Virgin Records. Success, the dark pattern. Virgin Records exploded because it ignored rules. Punk wasn't safe. Controversy wasn't polite. And mainstream labels were terrified of both. Sex Pistols. When Branson signed the Sex Pistols, stores refused to sell them. Politicians complained. Radio stations panicked. But outrage did something magical. It created attention. It created chaos. And attention created power. Richard Branson learned a dangerous lesson. The bigger the backlash, the bigger the payoff. This lesson worked right up until it didn't. Risk addiction. Success doesn't make you smarter, it makes you louder. Every win told Richard Branson the same story: trust yourself. And eventually, he stopped questioning the voice. This is where entrepreneurs become legends or cautionary tales. Virgin Atlantic, a war he couldn't control. Starting an airline is not innovation, it's provocation. British Airways didn't just compete, they defended territory. Dirty tricks. Customers were redirected. Calls mysteriously dropped. Rumors spread quietly. Richard Branson felt hunted because he was. And airlines don't fail dramatically, they bleed invisibly. The sacrifice that saved him. By the early 1990s, Virgin Atlantic needed cash, not optimism, not branding, cash. And Richard Branson had to make a drastic decision, fast. Selling Virgin Records. Selling Virgin Records felt like betrayal. It wasn't just revenue, it was memory, identity, proof that he belonged. When he sold it, he didn't feel relief, he felt amputated. But walking away didn't make him weaker, kept him alive. Why he never stopped risking. Most people fear losing money. Richard Branson feared becoming steel. Virgin Mobile, Virgin Trains, Virgin Galactic. Some worked, some embarrassed him. All of them tested the same question: how far can confidence carry you before reality intervenes? Space broke the illusion. Space doesn't negotiate. Rockets don't care about branding or optimism. When tragedy struck, Branson confronted something new. Risk wasn't abstract anymore. It had weight and cost. The real lesson. Richard Branson didn't succeed because he took risks. He survived because he eventually learned when not to. The myth says winners never stop. The truth is, the smartest ones know when walking away is the bravest move left. What you just watched was a story about risk taken in public. Loud risks, emotional risks, the kind the world applauds. But the next story is the opposite. It's about one of the earliest American billionaires. Someone who didn't gamble recklessly, didn't lose sleep over danger. Every move was calculated. Every loss was planned for. And when people stood in the way, they weren't confronted. They were quietly warned. He built power by being patient, ruthless without being loud, and safe enough to look boring. Until you understand what he was really doing. That story comes next. hear it, you realize some fortunes aren't built on courage.